What's going on, guys? It's Mark back here, back in the workshop. We're going to do part 2 of these cories, these little pygmy cories. I'm going to try and find them for you. They're normally over here. I'm going to go nice and still. There's one up in the water column there. There's one of the parents. I don't know where the other ones is. I've got this cloud of fry in here still of the zebra danios. I've got some black neons in there as well. We're going to be breeding them shortly. Show you guys how to do that. I think if I go down, there's a couple there, look, swimming up into the water column. My camera work is spooking them, but there you go, there's the adults. So what we're going to do now, without further ado, we're going to move on to the little tank where we spawned them a while ago, and I'll show you the babies, how they're coming on, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, what you can see right in front of you there is a freshly hatched little pygmy cory. Lovely condition. Don't panic, all those little worms that you can see in there are little water worms that I've put in there for them. Some of the bigger white worms are just detritus worms, which have come off of the out of the filter off the plants, and they're growing away there, but they're going to become prey items for them as they get older. You can see there's an egg there right next to that one, right in the centre of the screen now. You can see that black dot inside the egg, and that is the black dot that you can see on the top of his back on the one on the right hand side. So he hasn't hatched out yet. There's another little guy down on the bottom left hand side of the screen there as well, with these little fins going, and they're all doing really well so far. I've taken the spawning mops out. I've gone through them, washed them through the water to make sure that that there's no more little guys hanging around inside there. You can see that one moving around in the egg. Actually, it might be that little detritus worm there crawling over the top of it, making it move. But we've got quite a few out now. Some are still hatching. Most of the ones that were laid on the plants on the very top of the tank, I'll go back and you'll see how small these guys are to the filter. Look at that, you've near enough disappeared now, they're that small. But if I go right the way back, and you can see the tank, and they've mainly dropped off of the plants there now on the top there, off the spawning mop. That bit of subwasatang was hooked up in amongst that anubias, which is around the back, and that has slowly drifted down. I made that drift down so when the eggs hatch, obviously they just drift down anyway, but I needed to try and get some of the eggs off of there, because some of them do go mouldy. Some of the unfertilized one will go mouldy. You'll get some fungus on them and they'll die off. But try and remove those with the turkey baster the best you can, and keep that water as clean as you possibly can. Keep that nice flow going like on the top there, and that will aerate that water nicely for them as well. But as you can see, if you look at the tank, it looks quite derelict from this far back. It looks like there's nothing in it at all, but it's only when we go in nice and close that you start to pick these little guys out in amongst it. They're not huge spawners. Some of them have obviously got mouldy. I'm not sure how many we've got out altogether. They're still hiding in amongst that plant in the bottom here. There's still some buzzing around on there. I think that might be one I just saw wriggle around in there, but they do camouflage themselves quite well. There's another one there. I think you can just see. You can just look for the black dots. That's what I do. Look for those little black dots behind their heads, on their backs. And we've got a few out in amongst this lot. There's another little guy there whizzing around. Anyway, I'll give you an update on these in a few more days, and I think quite a few of them actually have gone behind the filter as well. It's a bit glary up around there, so we'll see. We'll have more of an idea how many we've got out as time goes on. So I'll get back to you when they're a little bit bigger. I might move them into a smaller tank actually. Then I'll know how many I've got, and I can clean up this detritus and get feeding them properly. There's that little yellow sakura shrimp that's snuck in on the plants there. I've left him in there because he was eating all the mouldy eggs. And that's one little tip there for you guys. If you're breeding different types of fish, the shrimps will not eat healthy eggs, okay? They will only eat dying, dead or decaying eggs. And you can see there he's heading towards a couple of little fry. There's two little fry there, one at the left of him, one at the right of him. Just see those little black dots there. But he'll clean up all those little worms as well. He's not doing any harm in there at all. Anyway, I think what I'll do is when I pop back, I think what I'm going to do is shift them into a smaller tank, and I can see, like I said, how many I've got, what's been going on, and where we are. Then I can clean that filter right out, squeeze it out, get that nice and clean for them again, and then we can go from there. I'll see you guys then, okay? Right guys, there's been a bit of a gap here between the last little update and this one. As you can see, we got 6 out originally. Sorry, we got about 10 out originally, but we've lost a couple and we're down to 6. There's one on the almond leaf, one on the left hand side there. They're probably dotted around all over the place. There's a couple on the leaf. I can see 5, 6. Oh no, they're all there. If I get my little tongs, I can point them out to you. We got one over there, we got 2 down there, we got 1 there, 1 there, and 1 behind. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 little pygmies out. I'll try and zoom in a bit closer for you. There's 1 there behind the filter, and there's a couple down there. Look, beautiful little condition. Brought them on well. They've grown quite a bit since, but they do take a fair time to grow, and I've been feeding them on the micro worms, the water worms. As you can see, they're now buzzing around. They're still quite small. Their parents are about an inch, I'd say over an inch, just over an inch long, I would say. These guys are probably about a centimetre, I would have thought now. But they're beautiful condition, stunning little fish, full of character, and you can see them there busily rooting around in amongst all that substrate. So I've been feeding them micro worms and very, very small bloodworm as well, which they love to eat. Got to make sure, guys, with the Pygmy Corys, they have got extremely small mouths, and you can starve these little guys so easy when they're younger. You've got to really feed them that microscopic food. Freshly hatched Artemia are quite good. The Infusoria as well. Got to make sure you keep that water flow low, but keep the filter going. There's one going crazy all over the place there, just on the left there. You can't see him on the camera, but yeah, really easy to starve these guys. Once that egg sack's been used up, here he is, that's when obviously they need to feed. So you've got to feed them that micro, and I find the micro worms, the water worms, are fantastic because they're like little tiny bits of spaghetti for them when they're growing, and when they get a little bit bigger, they'll start cleaning up those little water worms. Another way you can do it as well, some people, they cloud the water up. They'll squeeze out a sponge filter into the water, and that will release a lot of detritus and little tiny bits of micro life into the water as well, which they'll eat when they're babies. Because we haven't got any substrate in here, and it was a completely bare tank when we spawned them, normally they'll go rooting around in amongst the substrate looking for things that we can't even see, but their little beady eyes will pick them up, and they'll eat them. But these guys are coming on great. They're feeding on the water worms lovely now. I've given it a water change before. Got that nice little Anubias in the side, Anubias nana. Just that little bit of bark in there, an almond leaf, and they're quite happy just being. And they're in water now is about 7, neutral pH 7, and they're quite happy in there. They're breeding well, sorry, feeding well, not breeding well. They're a bit young for that yet. But they're going to go in the bench tank now. They're big enough to go in there with their mums and dads, and then we can empty this tank out, scrub it out, and we can start to breed something else in here. I've got an idea what I'm going to be breeding in here. I'll give you a clue. It's something to do with plants, so that doesn't really narrow it down a lot, I know, but we'll have something in there. I'm just getting a few fish at the moment. I've got them in the bench tank. I brought them a few weeks back now, and you guys don't know about them, you haven't seen them, but I've been conditioning them up, and they're and we'll get them in there, and we'll try and get a little spawn out of those. Okay, anyway guys, thanks to you for tuning into part 2 of how to breed Pygmy Corys. Hope you have a go at this. It's an amazing little journey, very rewarding at the end when you can see the little guys whizzing about feeding like that. They're one of the cutest little Corys, I think, and have a go at breeding them yourself. It's all great fun. Anyway guys, as always, love you loads, take care of yourself, you're all stars, and I'll see you on the next breeding project on Marks Aquatics. Bye for now.
Just me and my guitar.